Hey Aquarius, welcome to Sag season. I want to wait till the cards come out. Yeah. This card is a union, it's an exchange, which is the same thing. Because when a union is, and try to picture this with me. So when a union is very cohesive, compatible, a mutual thing, it becomes an exchange. Because it's this very natural flow of give and receive and give and receive, and it's this constant, commitment and decision to do this thing. And you're in that right now, being Saturn in your sign for a while. But it's also been a big part of the questions that you've been asking yourself this past year. You see the layout, and you might see the layout in the broad spectrum of things. And I remember last year we talked about like the grid around this time. But I'm going to let the cards fall out because there's something you guys understand in a calculated way. And it's important because that's how a part of your nature, it's a part of who you are, it's a part of how you go about living, really. So this union, this exchange, this deeper possible commitment, this long-term goal is what you're thinking about. So at the bottom of the deck, we have another 2, the 2 of Wands, and then we have a 3. Let's take a look at those after. 10 of Pentacles, the Moon, 6 of Cups, 3 of Wands, Temperance, and the Emperor. Let's start with these, right? So last season was informative for you. Most of you, it might have been a quiet time or a very internal time. For most people it was, but for you more than anyone, I think that you were taking that, you take that more seriously than most people. Or you take, when you have time, even if it's not quiet, you take that time for yourself, and when the opportunity presents itself, most of the time you'll take that seriously. And it's serious because you're being asked so many questions about yourself, and you're being shown parts of yourself that aren't necessarily up to the standard that you want, or up to the level that you want, or there's something that you've remained hidden to in terms of not only love, how you give love, how you show love to yourself, and how you continue to nurture that. There's something particularly important about that part of your life right now. So it's almost like, and when we get to the second part, so this is the first part for those of you who are new. The second part, I show you the cards, and that's what helped me a lot. So it's a really great visual for you to see what I'm saying and how I'm seeing things, and even for your own, getting your own interpretation for yourself, because that's even more valuable. So the imagery that I'm getting, the connection that I'm getting here just from these 4 cards, is that there's a lot more depth to this concept of love, even conception, to this this identity, or this idea that you've had around it. Now you get to put the fabric to it, you get to build the inside, and you've been doing that in this next few years. And I'm just using love as like the main example, but this has to do with your work and what you're doing. It's all this very much this like study ground. It's a playground too, but there's this, for you guys it's different. You're very calculated, and can be. So what you're seeing from yourself, and maybe parts of yourself that you've remained hidden to, now you have this capability, this greater sense of acceptance of yourself. And even if it feels immature, even if it feels like something you felt before but never fully immerse yourself into it, let yourself have it. See the expansion. This month, like, seeing that expansion is important. You might have things from your past come back up. So around the new moon and the full moon, probably more so the full moon, I'd say, by the end of the month. But you might experience this throughout the month of like things from your past coming back up, having you question certain things, having you take a look at the expansion of your life and how much you not only have to offer, but how much the season's coming in. Mars is also going to be entering Sagittarius on the 13th. So how by that time, a lot more is going to get clear, and you might be sick of thinking about all this other stuff that I'm talking about. And sometimes I'm even sick of talking about it too. I'm just saying. But it's been important for you because it has everything to do with what's behind the purpose of you moving forward, what's behind the clarity of December 13th rolling around and you really being shown all of these different aspects about yourself that are a lot quicker because you take a step back. And that's something that's really important. But it's also can become a detriment when you're coming up to seasons that are like, it's time to go. There's no more time to think too much. And that's something that once you get in that flow, like, you know, there could be no stopping you. But this time there's a lot more certainty. There's a lot more depth. It's so funny. There's a lot more certainty, but there's different questions, I guess, that come from it for you. And I think that's what you're going to enjoy about being in Saturn. At other times going to be very like, just like, why? But as long as you keep your certain thought process of like, this is actually what I love, is to take a step back, to question certain things, to be in that role of, and being that example for people right now, being the person that is in that seat, ready to be shown how to move or ready to work. Because like, you're not opposed to the work or doing anything. You love to do things, but you love to also contemplate. And if anything, this month is actually telling you to do just that. But once you get that quick instinct of knowing what to do, just do it. Just go for it. Don't wait too long. Just like go move the way you know you need to right now. Because what's coming from this, even if it feels like new or uncomfortable or awkward or whatever it is, you're able to articulate way better than you realize, and in a way that's really helpful. Because what's going to happen is that more starts to roll out because you're so much more capable of not only understanding that when certain things come out, whether they're in context, out of context, secrets, whatever it is, whenever things come out, or whenever something, which is funny, starting with Two of Cups, ending with the Lovers here. So whenever something comes out or anything needs to be shared, there's always a energy behind it, right? So it's almost like winning a little bit of money as opposed to winning a lot of money. There's a certain fortune behind it. You're going to experience this in bits and pieces in certain areas of your life for some months to come. The important thing is that you remember that when those hard moments or those hard aspects come up where you're maybe inside your head too much, or you're doubting certain things, remember the streak of ease that you had once felt, because those are just starting to notice those waves and that motion that's going to start, because Mars is very start and stop. It's not like a longevity sign. It's like you're in this and then you move. You do a lot of this work, then you stop, you know. So that's Mars being in Sagittarius. So when you get that clarity and when you get that focus and you know exactly what you're shooting for, go for it. Work on it as long as you have the energy to. Because then something's going to start to build from that, and you're going to find that in the times of like doubt. So your kind of doubt is the Five of Wands, because it's like being in your head too much, where you're just like watching it like a ping pong match, going like 100 different ones. just like moving all around, excuse me. And what's being revealed to you is how, yes, that's going to happen, and it may feel frustrating and it may feel like condensed or tense. It's just really important that you understand that this is showing up for you to either engage with it or not. And that's the commitment. That's that question, right? That's that question that you have, that you've learned with maybe a partnership or working with people, that's how you have to start really interpreting it with yourself in a different way, because it's not the same feeling as it once was. It's not the same life as it once was. And especially depending on where your Aquarius is in your chart. There is something, the Gemini full moon is going to be big for you. It's going to be big for how you handle you. How you handle everything and everyone. Because also this is, different things showing up of different people wanting your attention. There's different things pulling at you. And it's really important for you to understand that it's one thing at a time right now, not to get yourself too overwhelmed. If you're someone who needs to write things out to get it out of your head, I suggest it. Or getting outside and doing whatever it is that gives you the focus, because once that December 13th rolls around, from there to the full moon on the 18th, around that time, there's so much that you're going to be able to accomplish in the things that you are really necessary right now for the next season coming up. And you're going to feel good about getting a head start, but it's also going to show you how you work, and that you can't force the kind of work that you've done. There's a different kind of work being done now. So it's not the same. And like, you've been learning that throughout this year, but it's still, I think, difficult sometimes to get used to it, even though it's been showing up. And once you just remind yourself, like, oh, this is what's been showing up, you're like, oh, that's easier to get used to. There's something different about it. But the Gemini full moon may reveal to you how you handle things now and how you handle things in given the situation, because I think there will be a situation that you're going to have to engage with in order to move on from, for most of you. And you're going to have to either say something or do something, because it's going to help your confidence, and it's going to help whatever energy's been like waiting, like when you win like that amount of money. For some of you, there's bigger than others, but wherever you're at in your life, it's like it wants to come through, but you're turned away from it because there's an action that needs to be taken with a certain person or a certain situation in your life. And by the end of the month, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But it's going to start out slow this month. It's going to be very much an extension for you of this seeing really closely, and seeing also that bird's eye view of how you're engaging with the long-term commitments in your life, and how that affects you, and how that affects the certain questions that come up. And then we'll go through the cards, because it will make more sense when I show you. Yeah, I feel that. Start and go. Okay. Happy Sag season. All information to work with me is below. The next part, we'll look at the cards. Okay, Aquarius? And your season's coming up so soon. I'll see you next month. Hi, Aquarius. See all the cards? Yo, Gemini season. The Gemini eclipse is going to be big. The eclipses in general. So what I was saying about the way it's starting off is like very internal, which is very much the Sagittarius new moon. You're seeing, and I say this to you a lot, but this is how this is a lot of times how you think of things, is you come really close to them, and then you have to move really far away from them in order to get into the middle. And that's the extreme. That's what happens. But this is what's going to give you that long-term view. Whatever you're seeing now, whether it's the things you need to work on in your relationships and where you're at in your career, it's only for your benefit. It's only for the exact purpose of how to nurture it, what you need to understand to grow it, what needs some more love, or what needs some more attention, what needs less attention, what needs that ability to detach. because once we get to that moment, you're going to be very focused, extremely clear, and your head might be down. You might get into that time, of your head down, your focus, you have the questions, you have the capability, and now it's time to present it all. And that's really like how it shows here is how it's going to play out. So the thing is that that's what's best for you this month, because here you already have enough going on with yourself and what you want to do and how you want to do things, and how much that's going to be a part of what drives you forward, what drives you into out of confrontation, into moments. You might even walk into moments of people showing you, like, just revealing themselves, it could be, deception, lies, it could be just the truth and hearing things as they are. Like, you're just gonna walk into moments and necessary times, and some of you are gonna feel like, is this a joke? Like, and maybe it is funny because it is Sag season. By the end of the month, when we get towards the Gemini eclipse, it'll feel lighter, a lot lighter. Not that this month is extremely heavy for you, it's just a lot to look at. A lot of people also look at how many people are in this. Like, a lot of people are going to want your attention, and you just have to focus on what's actually worth your attention, because you're really just not going to have the patience this month. I'm sorry, like, you're just not. Like, I know I don't really even have Aquarius for me is only in Saturn. I have the patience is an interesting thing. And you may find yourself being able to see certain things that you ask for come true in times where you were contemplating or reflecting. You can't see the Two of Wands over here. That's what I'm referring to, is this row. And how quickly the movement is to moving forward, but how quickly people are to assume, judge, all the things. But it's really, again, your energy is really important to you right now. You have been shown what's really important, very clear for you, what you actually want to continue with, what you don't want to continue with. It becomes extremely real. And what comes easier? It becomes easier to name, like, what it is that you want and need monetarily as well. It becomes very easy for you to see how luck is really in your favor, but it's also about the growth that you're going through. We talked a lot about this year. You've done a lot of sitting back. Now it's like you have a lot to say. And you did have a lot to say a few times throughout the year, but this one is different. This one is like, I know where I'm going. I know what I have to say. Like, just, like, get out of my way. You might not say that, but you just might feel that way in many circumstances. Like, you don't, like, even with, for some of you, even with, like, if you have to be around family or certain people this year, you're going to even feel like, I don't really want to do that. And you might not regret that either. I'm just saying, like, that might be something you need to do this year and really focus on just keep your attention, because it's already a lot. Wherever your attention is, there's already a lot there. It's that inner working. It's like, okay, I see the structure. Now what am I going to put inside of it? And that's about you too. Like, what inside of you has been needing more of your attention, needing more of your energy. It's all the same thing. And now is the time to carry it forward. There is a lot of attention on this full moon, and whatever you start with, it's going to end in a way that is a lot more spiritual and a lot more free, air-like, and it's all going forward from there. Okay, Aquarius? Wow. I will see you next month.